So like when we were creating AdBeacon, it was really a necessity at the time, right? So like, okay, optimize with accurate data, right? And that's attribution and making sure we prove every dollar from all of our advertising. That was the start. And as I started thinking, I'm like, what is the future of AdBeacon? What is my heart? And it really is how do I do something completely different? And right now, attribution platforms similar to AdBeacon are just post-purchase. What does that mean? That means they have to purchase something in order for us to prove that the ad worked, right? We have to have
Yeah.
Jordan West's name, his address, his IP, and the full click journey that led to that sale, which is incredible as it stands because people don't have that. But what about all the people that come to your website and bounce? What about all the
Yeah.
people that come and are unidentified, or we call it anonymous traffic? And we were thinking about it, my co-founder and I, and this is just like, we are beta testing multiple platforms. And let me just warn everybody, there are a lot of vendors out there that say they can do this. And we have tested many and it is not good. They'll be like, oh, we get 40 to 80% match rate. And we test it. And it's like out of the 300 records, we only have 3 that are enriched. So
Wow.
what kind of data are we talking about here? Okay. So if I have a 40% match rate of 300 people, right? What kind of data do we receive? We know gender, we know income, we know what they're in market for. So let's just say bed sheets. They want to buy bed sheets and have been searching bed sheets and competitors research. We know, again, like their interests, all of this, because these platforms have pixels across millions of websites. And they're tracking all this data legally. So we're able to enrich and say, yes, this is that person. If we're able to do full circle as a platform like AdBeacon, now I can tell you a couple different things. Base level is let's just retarget people with high intent to buy from us, right? That's usually what we know. But what if I could tell you, based off of the persona that we have set, we need people like Jordan West to come to our website because he's our ideal customer.
Yeah.
I can now tell you the qualification or the lead quality of Meta, the percentage, and then you'll know what? Okay, I can spend more on Meta, but if they're not converting, something's wrong with my website. It's not the traffic.
Totally. It's not a traffic. That's right. That's right. And that's one thing that you haven't been able to close the loop on up until now, right? Is that you can kind of know, you're like, well, and we'll use some signals. We'll use some like leading indicators of like bounce rate, right? I think is a really good one. That's when we realized that TikTok regular traffic kind of sucked, right? Is like, you're just looking, you're like, well, it's a 90% bounce rate. And I don't think that's because the traffic itself sucked. I think that's because the dopamine cycle is off when they go to your website because your website sucks. Comparatively, it's just like, yeah, I'm sorry, you're just not as entertaining as TikTok. And they're like, right? Which is why TikTok Shop worked so well. Sorry, massive rant.
Love it.
Back to this though, you can actually close this circle. So even with 40% of traffic, you can get a pretty good idea of whether or not Meta's those ads that and the offer that you're actually putting out there is resonating with the right audience. And you're not going to do anything about that audience, guys. I just want to let you know, right? But you can do something about your offer and your creative, right? That's a big thing you can.
Well, you can do something about that audience. So we can actually tell you who they are and then you can retarget them. Because in AdBeacon currently, we have an audience builder that you have directly synced with platforms like Meta, Google, TikTok, et cetera. So you can say, hey, out of all these Meta people who came from Meta, let's retarget them with a better offer or whatever it may be. So you can do something, but I
mean, that's interesting cross-platform, Phoenix. That is what I'm thinking is like one of the old things that I used to love to do with our brands was I used to love to retarget on YouTube, right? YouTube is such a powerful place to be able, and you guys are probably watching this on YouTube, and maybe there's an ad right now.